The true happiness. Little David loved listening to fairy tales. Each night, his grandma would tell him a story. He was so accustomed to this routine that he could not sleep without hearing one. Each night, after listening to a story, he would doze off into his own imaginary world of those tales. When Christmas came close, Grandma would tell David about Santa and how he brought gifts for the little children. Now each night, David would dream of the big bearded guy with a sack over his shoulders going from house to house. He grew up listening to those stories. He was now 5 years old and wished each year at Christmas that Santa would come to his house too. Each year, little David awaited Santa. He prayed to Jesus to send Santa to his house, not because he wished for toys and gifts, but because he had some very poor friends. David wanted to tell Santa to help them. But every year he was greeted with disappointment. Time went on swiftly. Now David had turned 10. But he had not lost heart. He kept praying. And it so happened that one Christmas time he fell seriously ill. He was diagnosed of an appendix. His parents rushed him to the hospital, where he was immediately attended by doctors. David had gone through a surgery and was shifted to the children's ward. David hoped once again to see Santa, as it was Christmas Eve. He prayed to Jesus to send Santa to him so he could tell him what he desired. He fell asleep while praying. Later, he was awakened by a gentle pat. He thought it was one of the nurses, probably to give him an injection. But as he got up and rubbed his eyes, there, standing before him, was Santa Claus himself. There was no end to the boy's happiness. He hugged the bearded fellow and at the same time thanked Jesus for sending Santa. The boy's innocence made him smile, and in return he embraced him with a kiss on the forehead. He told David that he knew what he wished for, and therefore he has helped all his friends for whom he had been praying so fervently. He further told David that it is his responsibility to answer the prayers of the people. He too added that he loved little children, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. On hearing these words, David looked with curiosity in his eyes, as he knew that these were the words of Jesus Christ. Knowing the boy's troubles, his lips curled in a smile. He removed his cap and beard. Yes, it was indeed Jesus Christ. David hugged Jesus happily and asked him innocently, "Jesus, you help people by becoming Santa?" To this Jesus replied, "No, my child, but those children who place the happiness of others before them and pray with faith, I go to help those children myself. But since I have to help a lot of people, therefore I have appointed special men in disguise of Santa Claus to help around. Your pure intentions have brought me to you." This made David very happy. While he was talking to Jesus, he thought that the other children of the ward might have got up too. But he was caught up by surprise that the children were sound asleep. Even the paramedic staff was moving about with their business, and no one seemed to notice David talking to Jesus. He was astonished, but at the same time contented that he had seen Jesus. Jesus kept his hand on David's head and blessed him, and announced that he had to leave as there were other children like David whom he had to see. After Jesus left, David regretted that he had forgotten to tell Jesus to cure all the children in the hospital, as it was Christmas time. With that thought, he fell asleep. In the morning, while he was still asleep, he heard a loud noise. It was a mumbling. He got up with a jolt. He thought maybe the excitement and noise was due to Christmas, but learned that it was a different scenario. The doctors and nurses were surprised to see that all the children were completely all right. Even those who were to be operated the next day had also healed. David smiled as he was the sole witness to what had happened. In his heart, he kept thanking Jesus for this blessed and prosperous Christmas for all. This Christmas for David too was a special one, as he had experienced meeting up with Jesus, and the happiness that he felt deep down within was priceless. Everyone started to greet each other Merry Christmas, and while singing the carol, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," everyone left the hospital.